Now let's have a discussion of the 5 poems by Emily Dickinson. First, I'm nobody, who are you? I'm nobody, who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there is a pair of us. Don't tell, they'd advertise, you know. How dreary to be somebody. How public, like a frock, to tell one's name the livelong June to an admiring bog. Now, let's think about what questions we can ask about this poem. What is Emily Dickinson's argument in this poem? And what is the central metaphor in this poem? And how does the central metaphor reinforce the poet's presentation of her argument? The poem is written in the form of a dramatic monologue, in which the I addresses another imaginary nobody. The I and you seem to be likened to a nice pair of nobodies. They are different from those who attempt to advertise themselves. They find it boring to be somebody and have made up their minds not to be public and not like a frog croaking to an admiring bog to advertise themselves. The poem argues that there are advantages in being away from the constant glare of spotlight. Moreover, the poem might also suggest the poet's humorous contempt for humanity and her recognition of her own superiority. The metaphorical irony of the concept of somebody and nobody lies in the convincing fact that it was the undeserved popularity rather than convincing self that Emily Dickinson condemned. Thus, how dreary to be somebody. Emily Dickinson and Walt Whitman were contemporaries, and they were regarded as 2 greatest poets of 19th century America. Walt Whitman says, I celebrate myself and sing myself, while Emily Dickinson prefers to ask, I'm nobody, who are you? Now, what is your impression of the 2 poets? Walt Whitman has been called the father of modern American poetry, and Emily Dickinson the mother of modern American poetry. But they are different from each other. Unlike Walt Whitman, who attempted to advertise himself by publishing book reviews for his own poems, Dickinson hid her nearly 1,800 poems in a drawer in her room at home. Whitman tried to include everyone and everything in his poetry, while Emily Dickinson's short poems turn on internal experiences. Whitman's poems grow toward a single organic epic, but Dickinson's almost 1,800 poems stand as distinct and contradictory statements. Walt Whitman abandoned conventional themes, dealing with the world he really knew, the world with real things, with steam engines, wars, and sex, while Dickinson was satisfied with her meditation over intellectual metaphysical details. When she was asked whether she had read Walt Whitman, she said she had never read Walt Whitman, but was told that Whitman was disgraceful. In terms of poetic form, Whitman created a new form of free verse, which is undisciplined by convention and tradition. He opened up a space completely by breaking off a line limit, so that he could say anything he wanted to say and bring in everyday particulars. But Emily Dickinson was writing in a very small form. As a result, Walt Whitman became a public bar, But Emily Dickinson turned out to be a poet who wrote her letters to the world that never wrote to her.